A very good morning to you and welcome to the special broadcast of Armed Forces Day 2018. My name is Blaine Herman and we're coming to you live from Kimberley in the Northern Cape. It's a beautiful setting for the sixth segment of this special day. Now, how it all came about? Well, back in 2012, former President Jacob Zuma proclaimed that the 21st of February every year will be commemorated and observed as Armed Forces Day. Now we have a new Commander-in-Chief present here today. President Cyril Ramaphosa will officiate the proceedings, and he's likely to convey his appreciation to the men and women that have gathered here today in uniform and thank them for answering the call to serve. And he'll also take the salute from the South African National Defence Force. So pomp and ceremony definitely on the cards. I hear the proceedings have started. Let's take you there live.
Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. Brigadier General M.A. Jamangile, the Chaplain General of the South African National Defence Force, is requested to lead us in scripture reading and prayer.
We acknowledge and respect all expressions of faith on parade. The Holy Book reads thus: "Greater love has no man than this, that he laid down his life for others." We meet here today because we do not have the right to forget what God remembers. We salute those soldiers who paid the ultimate price and were fully assessed by Almighty God on the other side of this side. This reminds us of one Commander-in-Chief who once declared in an address to the people of his country, he said, I quote, "Do not ask what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country." And these words epitomizes and embody what patriotism is all about. As we share the memories and moments, passion and heartaches, tears and laughter, anger and pain, peace and confusion, it is, however, our relationship with God that empowers us to heal what is broken. It is our courage, our faith, our belief that allows us to live with optimism and passion. Together we have the courage to comfort each other and allow God to be our refuge and our fortress. In conclusion, it was their efforts to do a first-class job serving their country, and we've got to be the powerhouse servants that God intended us to be. We must be true patriots, just like they are our forerunners. May we be blessed by divine attributes that comes from God alone. We will remember today and into the future, for greater love has no one than this, that they laid their lives for their beloved country, the Republic of South Africa. Shall we pray? I now commend this parade unto your throne of grace. May all the people of God say amen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the mass fly past will now commence.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you look to your left, approaching from the southeast is the first formation consisting of 4 Oryx helicopters flying at 300 feet above ground level. The helicopter formation is led by Lieutenant Colonel Neil Butler from 5th Squadron, Air Force Base, Durban. Ladies and gentlemen, take note that the formations, as you've seen first, it was a helicopter formation. Following up will be the transport aircrafts, fighter aircrafts, and a formation of PC-7 Mark II's trainer aircrafts. Up next, open the gates at 28, all the way from 28th Squadron and Air Force Base, Waterkloof, and the city of Tshwane, it's Jumbo. It's your C-130. This formation will be led by Major Lebohang Monareng. What a beauty the Jumbo is. Up next, still from left to right, ladies and gentlemen, is a formation of 6 Hawks Mark 120s from 85 Combat Flying School, Air Force Base Makado, in the green and lush Venda, home of our Commander-in-Chief, His Excellency Mr. Cyril Ramaphosa. The formation is led by Lieutenant Craig Leeson, call sign Shak. He is also the officer in commanding of 85 Combat Flying School. Faster than the speed of sound, that is the Hawk. Upwards and onwards, we are now followed by a formation of 8 of our 4th generation fighters, the JAS 39 Gripen. This formation consists of 8 Gripens from 2 Squadron, Air Force Base Makado, led by Lieutenant Colonel Josias Mashaba, call sign Borbor. Ladies and gentlemen, brace yourself, it's the Gripen. your defenders of the airspaces, your friends in high places, the Air Force. Following up, ladies and gentlemen, the next formation that will appear ahead of you consists of 16 PC-7 Mark IIs. The centenary is in honor of the 100th birthday celebration of the late former President Utata Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. This formation is led by Major Mark Gentles. Major Gentles will be leading the Center Zero, identifiable by the trademark of blue and white paint scheme of the South African Air Force aerobatic display team, the Silver Falcons. The one of the 100 is led by Lieutenant Colonel Gareth Gorley. The second Zero is led by Major T.N. Stander. Ladies and gentlemen, please keep your eyes in front of you from the southeast. And to close it off, look to the south for our final flypast of the Grippins.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is worth noting that the Gripen is based at Air Force Base Makado. The roles of the Gripen varies. Roles and functions include air defense, pre-planned strikes, close air support, reconnaissance, cooperation with the Navy, carrying naval operations. And the Gripen is one of those assets that serves as an insurance that you don't really want to use, but you need to have one. The Gripen's contribution towards air power and joint operations includes air defense. As such, it provides air superiority and offensive air support, defensive counter-air, air intercepts, and interrogation. It carries out surface attacks, autonomous strikes, interdiction, close air support, real-time surveillance, standoff, and real-time tactical imagery.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the mass flypast. The presentation of medals will now commence. The President of the Republic of South Africa is requested to perform the presentation of medals.
I'll move this way, yeah? I'll move this way. Yeah. If I can. Woo. My legs might just give up.
Collective citation, Mandela Medal Gold. The President has been pleased to award the Mandela Medal Gold, instituted by a warrant dated 24 November 2014, to the members who will now step forward being members of the South African National Defence Force who rendered distinguished service while personally providing medical care and attention to former President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela during his final illness, or when personally engaged in directing, controlling, planning, organizing, performing any duties, and bringing to a successful conclusion the memorial service, laying in state and state funeral of former President Mandela. 9570299, NA, Lieutenant General Derek Mbuyiselo Mgwebi, SD, SM, MMM. General Mgwebi.
Yeah, very good morning to you, Palesa. Good morning, everybody. Live from Kimberley in the Northern Cape. You know, we're in for a treat today. When the military is involved in any parade, as you can see, you know it's going to be precise, you know it's going to be grand, you know it's going to be loud, and you know it's going to be colorful. Now, this is no different. We just had a fly past from various aircraft. We had the Oryx helicopters, we had the jumbo C-130s, we had a couple of jets flying past here, and believe me, when those jets cut through the air, you can almost feel it in your soul. So definitely lots to see and lots to hear right here in Kimberley for Armed Forces Day 2018. Now, it's been a pretty busy week right here in Kimberley. A large military contingent has been present here for most of the week. And, you know, it's all about bringing the military closer to the people. Now, let's take a look at the build-up to Armed Forces Day 2018.
Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the presentation of medals. You may now applaud the recipients. The President of the Republic of South Africa is requested to address the parade.
Minister of Defense and military veterans, Ms. Nosiviwe Mapisa Ngakula, ministers and deputy ministers present, the Secretary for Defense, Dr. Sam Gulube, the Chief of the South African National Defence Force, General Soli Shoke, generals, admirals, officers, warrant officers, non-commissioned officers, military veterans, the Premier of our province here in the Northern Cape, Ms. Sylvia Lucas, MECs present, members of Parliament present, members of the provincial legislature, distinguished guests, and ladies and gentlemen. I am truly honored to be back in Kimberley for the second time in 4 days to join the South African National Defence Force and the people of the Northern Cape in hosting Armed Forces Day. At the interfaith service I attended on Sunday, I saw in our armed forces a reflection of the South Africa we constantly seek to build. I saw the diversity of our country reflected in the uniform that are worn by our armed forces. I saw, just as I witnessed today, black and white South Africans, men and women together. I saw, just as I see today, discipline, commitment, and professionalism. But I also saw and I see the warmth of our national character shining through. The participation of all faiths in the Sunday event was a reminder of the inclusive society that we are seeking to build in South Africa. It was heartening to see the wonderful creative talent of men and women in uniform on display, as it is today. On Sunday, it was our men and women in uniform who lifted the spirit of our nation through the soaring voices of soloists, trumpeters, saxophonists, and the vibrant defense choir. So when we look at our armed forces, what we see is a manifestation of the South Africa that belongs to all of us, black and white, which our Constitution directs us to build. This day is a reminder that our soldiers are an integral part of us, that the men and women who are in uniform are part of our soul. You are the bedrock of our communities. You are the foundation stone of our peace. You are much more than the defenders of our people. You are the defenders of our nation's constitution. We dare not fail to appreciate how the peace we enjoy lives alongside the constant vigilance and readiness that enables you to keep us as safe as we are. We applaud the SANDF, for you are opening incredible opportunities for young people as you carry on with many of your other tasks. You are opening up opportunities for these wonderful young South Africans in many disciplines. South Africa's defense technology is globally sought after. Much of our technological capability shows that we are well positioned through our armed forces to participate in many endeavors, including the now new Fourth Industrial Revolution. This has established our defense sector as an important contributor to innovation in our economy. It has made defense a sector where young people can exercise not just their physical capabilities, which they have in great abundance, but their creativity and exercise skills across a broad range of endeavors, from as important a task such as catering, to engineering, to intelligence gathering, and project management. Fellow compatriots, a decision was taken in 2012 to proclaim the 21st of February as Armed Forces Day. It commemorated and commemorates the day in 1917 when the SS Mendi was sunk in the English Channel during World War I. The SS Mendi was transporting 823 members of the 5th Battalion, the South African Native Labour Corps, to France when it was struck by the SS Dora. Over 600 black troops died in that disaster. It is a day on which we remember the bravery of soldiers prepared to fight in a war that was not theirs. It is recorded that as the SS Mendi sank, the soldiers chose to die with dignity and with honor. It was this tragedy that S.E.K. Mkhai recalled in his poem, Ukuchona Kukamendi. In it he writes, could we have sacrificed anything more precious? What did it mean to sacrifice a village? Was it not giving the bull calves of your homestead, sending those very ones who loved you as a nation? We are talking deep now. We have added our voice. Proudly, we are part of those opening the road to freedom. In the way Abel was a sacrifice of the earth, in the way that Messiah was the sacrifice of heaven, be consoled, all you orphans. Be consoled, all you young widows. Somebody has to die so that something can be built. Somebody has to serve so that others can live. This day has become a day that allows us to remember all men and women who have paid the ultimate price in defense of freedom, peace, and justice. It reminds us that blood was spilled by many of our people to guarantee us our freedom and our dignity. It is a reminder that honorable and courageous men and women continue to put their lives on the line to secure our peace and defend our Constitution. This year, Armed Forces Day celebrations carry a profound and special meaning for our nation. They occur at a time when our Defense Force has once again demonstrated the deep roots of our constitutional dispensation. They are even more significant because they occur in a year when South Africa commemorates the centenary year of our icon and first Commander-in-Chief, President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. It is this SANDF that President Mandela envisaged as a non-partisan unifier and defender of all South Africans. President Mandela oversaw the formation of the SANDF as the force that upholds the Constitution of the Republic in defense of all its people. He left behind a disciplined SANDF that protects our territorial integrity and supports our peace and development initiatives on the African continent. Thank you heartily for your patriotism, and for lending a hand in the renewal and development of our beloved country. We applaud the major role that the Department of Defense is playing in actively promoting our Defense Force as a career choice. During the past year, the South African Navy continues to lead the Department of Defense's participation in Operation Phakisa. Through Operation Phakisa, the SANDF aims to enhance disciplines such as shipbuilding. During this year, the SANDF will lead the rejuvenation of the naval dockyard in Simonstown. It will commence with the building of patrol and survey vessels for the South African Navy to rejuvenate the national shipbuilding industry in our country. This project will create 570 high technical jobs and 4,500 indirect jobs over the next 5 years. The SANDF conducted various maritime border safeguarding operations under Operation Corona, ensuring the safety and stability of South Africa's maritime zones. Operation Tusano is a departmental initiative with the Cuban Armed Forces that involves the maintenance and repairing of the SANDF operational vehicle fleet. From inception in 2015, over 4,000 vehicles have been repaired and maintained, and several workshops in SANDF units have also been revived. A total of 446 South Africans are apprentices, and a further 395 are qualified as technicians through transfer of practical knowledge by the Cubans. As I mentioned in the State of the Nation address, I will soon be visiting the leadership and management of our national departments to see how well we can work together as a nation to accelerate the imperatives of service delivery, training, and job creation as we continue to move South Africa forward. As Commander-in-Chief of the South African National Defense Force, I will be prioritizing my engagement with the Department of Defense. On this historic and auspicious day, I wish you all, our beloved men and women in uniform, and I wish you well. I thank you once more for your loyalty, your patriotism to our country, and more importantly, for your unconditional, unflinching service to the people of the Republic of South Africa. I thank you all. God bless you. Thank you.
The handing over of the South African National Defence Force flag will now commence. Please take note that during the flag ceremony, there will be a general salute, including a 17-round gun salute. All spectators are to remain seated. Only the parade will acknowledge the salute. Upon the commemoration of the establishment of the South African National Defence Force, the South African National Defence Force flag is handed from the Chief of the South African Air Force to the Chief of the South African Navy on this 21st day of February 2018, and whereas the Chief of the South African Navy will have the flag in safekeeping for a period of 1 year on behalf of the services as a symbol of the unity, determination, and strength of the South African National Defence Force. The title, Keeper of the Flag, is bestowed upon you. In this capacity, you are hereby charged to ensure that the South African National Defence Force flag is unfurled and displayed in the appropriate manner at the South African Navy headquarters. The flag, being the symbol of unity, determination, and strength of the South African National Defence Force, is to be treated with respect at all times. During the next commemoration of Armed Forces Day, you are to present the flag in an appropriate manner to the next appointed keeper of the flag. The handing over of the scroll will now commence. Ladies and gentlemen, the marching columns and mechanized columns from the services and divisions of the South African National Defence Force will now commence. Approaching from your southeast, in other words, from your left, are the marching columns from the four arms of service of the South African National Defence Force, namely the South African Army, the South African Air Force, the South African Navy, and the South African Military Health Services. All spectators are reminded to stand when the various color groupings marches past their line of vision. All military spectators are to salute.
Ladies and gentlemen, approaching from your left on the Land Rovers is the command group, commanded by Brigadier General Z.E. Bejer. Ladies and gentlemen, just directly behind the Land Rovers coming, it is the regimental colors. The regimental colors is the visible symbol of the honor and traditions of the regiment or unit to which it pertains. It serves to recall the great deed of the regiment in the defense of its country and the sacrifice and willingness of each member of that regiment to uphold the unit's honor. During the close order battle, the color became the rally point for confused troops. The loss or capture of the color was a considerable disgrace. Conversely, the capture of the enemy's color was an extraordinary honor. Ladies and gentlemen, the first marching column that will be seen approaching, it will be the Army. It is commanded by Lieutenant Colonel Karen Warren, and it's composed of 3 companies of 96 each.
Live from Kimberley in the Northern Cape, this is Armed Forces Day 2018. Pomp and ceremony definitely on the cards, splendid displays, and I guess all in all a great show lined up for you today. We just had the fly past from various aircraft. We're currently looking at marching columns featuring the various arms of service of the South African National Defence Force. That's the Army, the Air Force, the Navy, and the Medical Health Service. And we're also going to have the mechanized column, which is the parade of military vehicles, the hard-skinned military vehicles. So let's find out more now. Secretary for Defense, Dr. Sam Lube, joins me now live to tell us more. Doctor, thank you very much indeed for your time. Why is Armed Forces Day such an important part of our national calendar?
Armed Forces Day is a very important part of the South African national calendar because of the functions and the mandate of the South African National Defence Force. This is one day in a year where we remember all the contributions that have been made by our armed forces in protecting the country, defending our freedom, as well as its territorial integrity. The functions mainly being that of border safeguarding, maritime security, guarding our coasts, peacekeeping operations to make sure that we in the African continent and in South Africa live and work in peace, as well as disaster management, where our armed forces are usually called upon to see rescues, to stop the fires, as well as to fight floods and other natural disasters. For all of this, we do need to remember the role that our armed forces play to make sure that this country is at peace.
They play a very vital role, isn't it, in our nation. The President, Cyril Ramaphosa, the Commander-in-Chief, described them as a national pride. But they go through a lot, isn't it? Last year we saw the murder of a private in the DRC. They see horrific stuff, they go through horrific stuff. What support is there for them in order to help them, I guess, soldier on?
They do go through a lot. This day itself is a reminder of what they go through. If you remember, celebrating now 101 years of the sinking of men, where more than 600 of our soldiers died. And even today, they continue to die as they make supreme sacrifices in peacekeeping operations, in the border safeguarding, and even in ordinary disaster management. And it is, I think, very important for the South Africa to always bear in mind and note what our armed forces have to go through. Sometimes with minimal resources available at their disposal. As you know, today being a budget day, the Defense Force, like any other department in the country, is also suffering major budget reductions. The 2015 Defense Review talk about the decline of our capabilities and say that the major milestone that what we need to do in the South African National Defense Force is to arrest that decline and try and turn this Defense Force around in terms of its capabilities.
I know the President is, after this, he's heading to Cape Town for the budget happening at 2 o'clock. Are you going to go for the budget? What's your expectations from the budget?
Yes, from here we will all be going through to Cape Town for the budget. We already have an idea what to expect from the budget because we have been interacting with the National Treasury. Unfortunately, because of our limited growth in our economy, limited resources available to the country, our budget is being reduced drastically. Towards October, during the midterm policy statement, we thought we were going to have about 50 billion rands for the Department of Defense. But in December, when other imperatives and priorities came in, including the free higher education, we were cut further by 3 billion, so now we're at 47 billion. My major challenge right now as an accounting officer of the Department of Defense is how am I going to manage 2018-2019 financial year when the budget has been reduced by 3 billion from what we budgeted towards the end of last year.
Tough task ahead, Doctor. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Really appreciate you being on the program. That was Dr. Sam Gulube. He's the Secretary for Defense. The marching columns are proceeding. Let's take a bit of a break. We'll be back after this. Stay with us.
These colors are from 1 military hospital, 1 medical battalion, 3 medical battalion, 6 medical battalion, 7 and 8 medical battalion groups, which are of regular forces. They are escorted by Chief Warrant Officer Ngwenya. Just behind the colors.
Which inside are we linking to? Mendy.
Which is led by Lieutenant Colonel
Puleng Mudupe.
Sien Kula. The band consists of 34
Tell me by Puleng Mudupe. That's the
most of them.
like to talk to me? Yes, Puleng Murubi. Is it on the SS menu?
Of the South African Military Health Services supporting the brigade for operational purposes. Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the marching columns of the four arms of service from the South African National Defence Force. The South African Army is there to play a role in the
Back live from Kimberley in the Northern Cape, Armed Forces Day 2018. Now, one of the features of today is commemorating the fallen heroes. Now, you'll remember it's just over 100 years since the sinking of the SS Mandy. It was a troop ship carrying over 800 members, mainly from the South African Native Labour Corps. And back in 1917, they just completed a 34-day voyage from South Africa to England and were on their way to France when tragedy struck on the English Channel. A much larger ship, the SS Darrow, crashed into the SS Mandy. Over 600 South Africans died on that day, some of them on impact, others while in the frigid waters of the English Channel. So that was regarded as one of South Africa's worst maritime tragedies of the First World War, and it will be very much etched in the minds of many who have gathered here today. My colleague Puleng Modupe has more on this.
From our left, it is the mechanized columns composed of the four services of the South African National Defence Force, being the SA Army, the SA Air Force, the SA Navy, and South African Military Health Services.
Ladies and gentlemen, leading the procession is the military police. The primary task of the military police is to prevent crime, and the secondary task is crime investigation. They also provide support, maneuver, and mobility support during real-time policing, exercises, and operations. The military police of South Africa are led and commanded by Rear Admiral Junior Grade Mkhali Mapoto. What you are seeing now are the functional motorbikes. They are utilized to escort military convoys, crime prevention, VIP,
Fallen heroes indeed commemorated and observed and well honored right here in Kimberley in the Northern Cape as we commemorate and observe Armed Forces Day 2018. Now we currently have the mechanized column that's going on. Colonel Jongilanga Selumpondo joins me now live. He's with the SA Army. Sir, thank you very much indeed for your time, Colonel. What are we actually seeing now in terms of this mechanized column? It's a parade of hard-skinned vehicles, isn't it? It truly shows the might of the military.
Good morning. Thank you very much, fellow South Africans. It is true, the mechanized columns are composed of the South African Army capability. Amongst all, there are informations. What we see in front of us is the Mamba, which is used by most of the time by the military police to carry through the personnel to combat crime. We also use the Mambas during the time of battle to mark the route which will be used by the vehicles. Directly behind the Mambas now, we see what we call the mechanized vehicles called rattles. The rattles are divided into different capabilities and calibers. We have got rattle 90s, which we use in our term to destroy hard and point targets. Then followed by the rattle 20s. Rattle 20s are the rattles or a troop carrying vehicle mechanized, which is protected, mine protected. We use to, during the assault, through what we call the objectives. Then directly after the rattle 20s, we have got rattle 60s, which we call them the indirect fire support. It supports the assault by the rattle 20s.
These, in terms of our day-to-day operations, okay, we're not involved in any wars at the moment. We have our various peacekeeping missions in Africa. How do we stay combat ready?
We remain combat ready by engaging ourselves in many exercises. We have exercises with the other nations. Then that prepares our military, the landward specific. Meanwhile, we are engaged in the peacekeeping. Then by acquiring those skills from the other countries, it helps us to be abreast with what is current with the other armies around the globe.
What are we seeing now, Colonel?
What we see in front of us are the rattle 20s, which I was talking about. Behind it is rattle 60, which is indirect fire support.
And how up to date is our equipment?
Up to date, we have got the latest generation equipment. They are well serviceable. We are assisted by the Danel and the SAB. The SAB is assisting us in what we call the command and control systems. Yes.
Colonel, it's been a major build-up to Armed Forces Day. There's been a number of capability demonstrations held throughout the week. That was one of the aims, isn't it? To bring the South African National Defence Force closer to the people.
Thank you very much, sir. The build-up to this day has been characterized by many plannings. We got a directive from the Chief of National Defence Force around July last year, 2017. Then we went through many planning processes, assisted by the other departments around the Kimberley Regiment or Kimberley area, meaning the Northern Cape. Thanks to them, they help us a lot. Build up to this, on the 15th of this month, we open what is called Fern Park, where we do all the exhibition, all army exhibition. Then we went to the opening day on the firepower capability at the Berg, where it was opened yesterday, the 20th, where everyone had a chance of viewing all the live firing. That was yesterday, where we were assisted by all arms of services, the Air Force, the Navy, and the SAMs. Then that was the build-up up to today. There was a lot of preparation around Kimberley. We would like, as a SANDF, to thank the patience which has been demonstrated by the people of the Northern Cape. As we now today, we are on the final stage of the parade, which we are demonstrating the marching columns, the color parties, and also now we are on the last stage of the mechanized columns.
The South African National Defence Force is known for its precision. In terms of getting this precise, in terms of getting it working like clockwork, what sort of efforts go into it?
We at the Defence Force, we used to use a tool, what is called the planning process. In the planning process, there is what is called timelines. Whatever that you do, you put it on timelines, and in that you will never go wrong, because every effort must be coupled to timelines and must be, as what is called, must be rehearsed against the timelines. That's where you make it very professional, and nothing will go wrong if you rehearse according to the timelines and you adjust accordingly. But at the end of the day, there must be a certification that certifies that everything is going to go accordingly.
What sort of weapons are we looking at here, Colonel?
Right here, we see what we called it the anti-aircraft 23 millimeter guns. The 23 and the 20 and the 35 anti-air guns are used to repel or to destroy the enemy aircrafts that are getting to our airspace. Yes, sir.
What sort of range do they have?
There is 2,000 to, it varies from 2,000 to 6,000 kilometers. Yes. Yes. That is the 23 millimeter anti-aircraft gun.
You know, last year, former President Jacob Zuma announced that over 11,000 young people were recruited over the past 3 years to the South African National Defence Force. One of the aims of this, apart from bringing the Defence Force closer to the people, is recruiting youngsters, isn't it? Getting them interested. And, you know, it's not only about fighting wars, there's other opportunities. How can a person join the army or join the Air Force?
Right. The unfortunate part, the Air Force guy is going to come in to talk about the Air Force, whoever want to join the Air Force.
But the Army?
I will only stand for the Army. There is a recruiting process in the Army led by what is called the Directorate of the Human Resources in the Army. There are restrictions. There is also a sort of 23 from the age of 23 down. Then you go through a process of health assessment. The other reasons is that we must get the youngsters. In the Army, you have different formations. Then after the assessment, then we are guided by which formation. Let me make an example. If maybe we are guided by the fact that you can be good in construction, then we send you to the engineer formation. Then in the engineer formation, then you are trained in line with the engineer formation requirements in the Army. Then we have got also the other capabilities in the Army, like what we call the paratroopers. Then same process of getting the people through the Army. Then thereafter you are trained to be a paratrooper. Then there are so many assessments that you must go through if you are becoming a paratrooper. Then we have got the armor, people that are fighting with tanks and other vehicles called the Roycat. Also the same process by the Director Army Human Resources. Then thereafter we will be guided after the training as to which part, if there's a requirement to go to armor, the special forces, the infantry. There's a bigger organization that we have in the Army. Then after there are various trainings and various compartments within the infantry corps. Then we get you through that.
How long does this process take in order to become a fully fledged soldier?
Well, the recruitment process, it takes a period of 2 to 3 months. Then you go to the basic training. Then the basic training is a year to the other environment and more. Then after that, we cannot simply say you are a fully fledged landward force. Then we train you through that specific corps. Argument's sake, we say you go to the engineer formation. You will be trained in line with that specific part of the engineer formation. We must also be mindful of the fact that in the engineer formation, we also use the other departments to assist. Then it now requires you to take a longer period to become a fully member of that environment. So it varies to the direction that we put you through, but to be a fully fledged soldier, I would say it takes you a minimum of 2 years. Then we know we are guaranteed that we are a fully fledged landward a member, if I may say.
Are we seeing the tanks now, Colonel?
Yes, that is a beauty. When one say it's a queen of the battle, the elephant tank what we call tank transporter, which we know is commonly known as Shongololo, because of its track wheels. As a fully elephant tank, that is a very effective tank. Is one of the best tanks in the world, the elephant tank. It maneuvers all terrains. That is a very, very good. It's tried for a long period. Yes, sir.
You know, Colonel, I'm just looking at your uniform and the use of camouflage. I know in some countries using camouflage is forbidden. The design of your camouflage is obviously unique. But what is the rules in terms of a lot of people just use it as a fashion statement? What is the rules here in South Africa about using camouflage?
The camouflage in the Defence Force is used to camouflage your movement. It matches with the terrain of most probably of your country. It is used to camouflage our hardware and our capability and ourselves when we are on skirmishes or on battle. You may not appear far if you are camouflaged. Actually, your opposition must not be able to see you. That is the use of the camouflage. Because you are actually exposed in a far distance if you're not camouflaged. But if you camouflage yourself and you camouflage your capabilities, you are unable to be spotted or by the enemy in a distance. Then that is why now you have to camouflage yourself, or you have a camouflage. It must match the terrain, it must match the vegetation, it must match the ground itself.
Colonel Tsalupondo, thank you very much for your expertise and your insights. It's been a great help in terms of deciphering what we're seeing on our screens. That was Colonel Tsalupondo from the South African Army. More to come. The mechanized column is, currently proceeding. It's a parade of the military's hard-skinned vehicles. Lots more to come. Keep it locked onto Channel 404. But for now, let me throw it back to Johannesburg.
Yes. The tank transporter is known as a truck tractor, main model 40 to 440 TFRS with a 40 tons and 6x6 diesel. With a gross vehicle mass 40 and a horsepower rating DIN. Behind the Mark II main battle tank is the Mark Is. Those were the first versions that were designed in South Africa. Ladies and gentlemen, please take note. The army pieces that you have just seen, they were all manufactured in South Africa by South Africans. Ladies and gentlemen, that what you see behind the Mark 1 main battle tanks appearing, it is the field artillery assets. The field artillery supports the SA Army military operations with indirect fire to protect the force and deliver a devastating psychological shock to the enemy. Field artillery uses its weapon systems to deliver surface-to-surface, long-range, indirect fire. The field artillery has the ability to harass, neutralize, destroy its objectives even beyond 40 kilometers from the front line of own troops. Ladies and gentlemen, the rattle platforms that you're seeing utilized by the artillery, it is mainly utilized in the observation row and as well as in the command row.
I can hear you, Tabo. Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, the rattles that you see,
And then I'm going to hand over to Reginald, yeah?
you name it, it is there. If you want to have your pulse, if you have your pants, if you want to have the all the services, all
Yes.
the equipment.
Reg, can you hear me? Reggie, can you hear me? Reggie, can you hear me? It's Blaine. Reginald, can you hear me? It's Blaine. I can't hear him.
Yeah, I could hear him at some point. Can you talk again?
Neria, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Blaine.
Okay, great.
So it's you, right? Which gentleman is it? This side. Oh, it's here. There it goes. So this is us. We go, we go, we go, we go.
Ladies and gentlemen, that what you see behind, it is
Then we slowly go,
one person,
Bring the Air Force lady.
Yeah.
So that you can just shake her because
Yeah.
they are done.
it is based on a sum of ladies and gentlemen, the multiple
Do you want me to move him now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Okay.
destroy the society, right? And personnel. Ladies and gentlemen, if you hear some of these multiple road coming,
My iPad.
you better take your back and go home. Ladies and gentlemen, just behind the multiple rocket launches is the G5 flown or landing flown by some of G5. The G5 has got the capability of flying more than 40 kilometers. fighter is over 6,000 kilometers and 42,400 kilometers on entry. With a wind of 3.5 meters and the land 9.8 meters.
I'm gonna go. So you decide, go. So,
Check. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Good morning. How are you? Are you doing fine? Okay. I can't hear them. What happened? Okay.
Ladies and gentlemen, please take note. The asset that you see in front of you has been abandoned better. Behind the G5 gun, but you see is the G6. The G6 has got the same capability as the G5, the only difference it is a self-propelled gun. The G6 has got a crew of 6 inside the vehicle, and with an engine of V12 air-cooled turbo diesel. But the vehicle range on tar road is 700 kilometers. The cross country has got a range of 350 kilometers. The firing range is 40,558 feet. The G6 ammunition is the high explosive, practice, screening mode, screening scope, illumination, red phosphorus, and different.
Yes, I can hear you now. Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, I can hear you. One pilot. You stay there? Yeah. 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 Are we live at the moment? Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna go. Come back to you.
Yes, I can hear you.
yeah, I got that.
Ladies and gentlemen, what you see behind the automatic with the foreline, one is the behind the spot the engineer. The automatic engineer.
A very good morning to you and welcome to the special broadcast on Armed Forces Day 2018. My name is Blaine Herman and we come to you live from the Kimberley in Northern Cape. and it's a beautiful setting for the 6th segment of Armed Forces Day. Let me give you a bit of a history in terms of this. Back in 2012, former President Jacob Zuma actually proclaimed that the 21st of February each year will be known and observed as Armed Forces Day. It's a chance to honor those men and women in uniform who sometimes pay the ultimate sacrifice for freedom, for peace, and for justice. President President Cyril Ramaphosa addressed the nation. He actually showed his appreciation to the men and women that have gathered here today and thanked them in terms of answering the call to serve. Now, I'm not alone. I'm joined by my colleague Reginald Vidboy, who's along the parade route. Reginald, very good morning to you. What's happening on your side?
Well, good morning to you, Blaine. I can say that it is indeed a spectacular event out here in Kimberley. And I can tell you that many of these vehicles that are moving here, I didn't know what their role is in the South African National Defence Force, but we are definitely getting schooled now. And as they are making their way to the residential areas, we can expect a little more. So Kimberley is definitely a bust today. The army came to town, came with a big guns. So we are having a spectacular time out here. We are not alone. We are standing by with our colleague Niria Shakusa, who is on the other side. Good morning to you once again, Niria. What is happening on your side?
Good morning to you, Reggie. Indeed, this side is also a buzz, I must say. The residents here from Kimberley are excited as they are seeing the different vehicles, the military vehicles, as they make their way here. But let me not even try speak for these residents here in Kimberley. Let's just hear from them what they've learned so far and how was the experience from listening to the president to now seeing the various vehicles. Mama, thank you so much. You are one of the people who were taking videos as the vehicles were moving along. How did it feel for you?
I feel so honored and happy to be here. This is one of the events that we will never forget. It's the history in the making of Kimberley. We're very honored, and I hope this is not the last time that they're here. They will come again. We are happy.
There you have it from the residents, of course, like President Cyril Ramaphosa said, that this is another effort to basically show the people what the army is about, to bring the army to the people, and you can see that they're excited to have this experience. And what more better area to have it than in Kimberley, where we already have an Air Force artillery school. So you can already see that this has made a difference here in Kimberley. And of course, we will be seeing the province itself having more light, and we'll see, of course, the city itself being abuzz as the soldiers make their way all around the city. Let me cross to you, Blaine, for now.
Yeah, Neria, Reginald, great reporting. Stand by. We're going to catch up with you in a little while. Now, we're currently seeing the mechanized column. It's a parade of the military's hard-skin vehicles. The military might in fine display today in Kimberley. Now, earlier on, we had the flypast involving various aircraft. Let me bring in Colonel Lucky Tudi now, and he's from the South African Air Force. Colonel, thank you very much indeed for your time. I mean, that flypast was impressive, isn't it? What did we see?
Good morning, Blade. Morning, the viewers at home. The first formation that we got to see, it was during the 21-gun salute. It was the formation of 3 A109 helicopters that were flying the 2 national flags as well as the South African National Defence Force flag. And then the other helicopters that we got to see, it was the formation of the Oryx helicopters, 4 Oryx helicopters that were flying from the southeast. And these helicopters is our multi-role medium lift helicopters. And these helicopters, we are basically utilizing it for tactical deployment of our troops in and out of theater. And also we're utilizing it for search and rescue purposes, both inland and also for maritime purposes. And as well as this Oryx, it is also being utilized for the, if I may say, the firefighting that we get to see actually now in the Cape for fires. And also, other thing that we can also utilize this audit for, we're also utilizing it basically for the purpose of casual evacuation. I mean, during operations, we do definitely get casualties, and we definitely need these audits actually to be able to extract our members actually that are injured actually out of these operations.
You know, one of my favorites, Colonel, was the A109s, the Augusta 109s. Those are slick machines, isn't it? Known for its speed?
Yes, the speed is cruise about 120 knots. We're looking about 10 kilometers, 240 kilometers per hour, basically.
Now, another one of my favorites is the Roy Falk, but I don't see it here today.
Yes, the Roy Falk, in fact, it was participating yesterday at the Debrech for the capability demonstration. So today, the aircraft was not available to come and show its force actually here at the site at the parade itself.
Another impressive display was the C-130s, those jumbos. Tell us a bit more about that.
Wow, the jumbo is the workhorse of the South African National Defence Force. This machine actually is one of the reliable fixed-wing aircraft that we have in this organization, and it's all the way from 28th Squadron Air Force Base, Waterkloof. And we're utilizing it for paratrooping and also for the transportation of our troops actually into different operations that we can find ourselves in and also the transportation of our equipment actually into the operations area, into theater basically, if I can put it that way. And again, what we look at it is the support of our troops actually into these operations. Then we definitely need this capability to provide that support. I mean, you cannot just leave your troops actually in the mission area, but you don't provide them with the support or the necessary support that they do require. And also, because of its long range, we can utilize it for search and rescue capabilities, especially in maritime. You do need that, especially when you conduct this kind of operations for search and rescue.
We also saw a few jets, the Hawks and the Gripens. Take us through those impressive aircraft.
Well, the first one that came through behind this, it was the Hawk. The Hawk, I would say, it is an aircraft that it was a jet trainer aircraft. These pilots that qualified from as PIPS pilots, and that have been streamlined to become fighter pilots in the organization. Then we do train them on that aircraft as a stepping stone, basically, to fly the Gripen's fighter aircraft, basically.
Colonel, thank you very much indeed for your expertise. Colonel Lucky Tuli is from the South African National Air Force. The mechanized column is just about wrapping up. For now, let me take you back to studio, but as soon as it wraps up, we'll bring you right back here. Kimberley, Northern Cape, Armed Forces Day 2018.
Evacuate patients backwards to the stabilization points and further down to your level 1 medical facility. The vehicle is mine protected. It's got a length of 6.56 meters, a width of 3.3 meters. It's a 4x4 wheel vehicle. It's got an operational range of 1,000 kilometers. That is the SAM's Medical Battalion Group vehicle capabilities for you, ladies and gentlemen. A great hand of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, these are about the few of the Chief of the South African National Defence Force assets, General Solishoke. Ladies and gentlemen, approaching our left, it is our beloved former and the first Commander-in-Chief of the South African National Defence Force, President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. This has been displayed here just to honor our first Commander-in-Chief in line with our government objectives for the 2018.
Ladies and gentlemen, that concludes the mechanized columns displaying capabilities of the South African National Defence Force.
Thank you. Cape, as the mechanized column just about wraps up. Now we're joined by a representative from the SA Navy. It's Captain Matsatsane, handsome Matsatsane. Thank you very much indeed for your time. Your impressions on Armed Forces Day so far?
It is a good day. This is a day that we show off our forces to the people of South Africa, or also the people of the world, because most people, they don't know what the Defence Force actually has, but today they've seen the stuff, and we intend to do this every year and see in different provinces.
You know, another poignant moment, we're commemorating fallen heroes, and especially those that fallen heroes from the SS Meni, the tragedy that took place 101 years ago. As a Navy man, how does it make you feel?
First, I feel sad about people losing lives at sea, but as a Navy person, that is actually what I'm doing. My job is to fight at sea, to defend the country of South Africa, or where South Africa want me to serve. So when this happened also, it reminds everyone in the nation that while we're doing this job, it means we can lose our life, and all of us. So over 600 people losing their lives in one day, it just shows that it means business.
You know, the core business of the SA Navy is to fight at sea. What is our regional reach?
Okay, when we fight at sea, first of all is to defend South Africa, then we go to priority 2, then we defend the South African Development Community, which is SADC, then we go to African Union, which is the whole Africa, and other places where the South Africa want us to go.
In terms of our fleet, how impressive is our fleet compared to other nations?
Okay, our fleet is designed to suit South Africa, and it's designed to suit South Africa in the area where we operate, which is in South African waters, in the SADC waters, and in the African waters. So compared to what we have in Africa, our fleet is actually perfect, and it's good for South Africa. We just have to maintain it and get only those projects that need to be bought, and we will be good in defending our country.
Is it adequate? I know our fleet is involved in fighting piracy along the coast of Africa. Is it adequate enough?
Yes, it is adequate enough. The only problem is some of these fleets are aging, and then we have new projects to replace those ones that are aging. Otherwise, as the defense review said, how much we must just have that, and it will be adequate enough.
In terms of the mechanized column today, what sort of demonstration did the Navy have here today?
Okay, just to first to apologize to the community of South Africa is that we couldn't bring all our fleet and our submarine here, which include frigate, submarine, OPV, combat support vessel, and others. So we managed to bring two type of boats, which could be towed on the truck to come up to Kimberley, since you know there's no navigable water here. So we brought the riverine boat, which is used in operate in a riverine or fluvial waters. That is used by a maritime reaction squadron, and it's actually a crew of 5 people and can carry about 10 other passengers, and it's armed with light machine guns and other small weapons. And the second one that we brought also is a harbor patrol boat, also known as Namakura, that patrol around our harbors and also just the waters close to the harbors, and also that are also armed with light weapon gun and also small arms, also 5 crews.
Captain Handsome Matsane, in terms of, we've been talking about recruitment of the youth, and one of the aims of Armed Forces Day is to bring the SANDF closer to the people. In terms of joining the Navy, what's the requirement?
Okay, the requirement, the first one is, minimum one is matric, and if you don't have or you must have other qualification like artisan or technician or engineer or other qualifications that are relevant to the Navy. Some could be HR, some could be logistic. So those are the minimum requirement of you to join the Navy. But also, if you don't have any other specialization or other qualification, you must be not more than the age of 22. Otherwise, if you have other specialization or qualification, you can be taken up to the age of 26.
Captain Handsome Matsane, thank you very much indeed for your expertise. Appreciate your help. And so we'll wrap things up. It's back to studio.
Thank you.